The goal is to bring awareness to the nearly 44 million Americans who have the learning disability, but also to reframe the way people think about it. Joining us now to discuss dyslexia and dyslexic thinking is Ellen Engstrom, the Director of Curriculum at Grove's Learning Organization. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Let's start with this. For people who may not be familiar, can you explain what is dyslexia?
Dyslexia is a language-based learning disability that is brain-based. In other words, it comes from brain organization that impedes a person's ability to process sounds in words very clearly. So that interferes with the ability to learn to read and spell and write.
And I think a lot of people think dyslexia, if they don't know much about it, and think, okay, I'm messing up maybe my B's and my D's, or messing up different letters, but it's so much more than that.
Yes, it is. It is, absolutely. It really prevents people from being able to decode or break the code of of language, and even very bright people then there's a barrier to learning and intellectual growth because of that.
I mean, you said it's hard for them to decode, and I think when I try to explain that to people, it means, you know, you always, when we look at a word, if you're looking at a word and you don't have dyslexia, you can understand it, but sometimes folks have to sound it out or spell it out in terms of decoding it.
Right.
So, and this is something that affects both children and adults.
Yes. Dyslexia, because it is a brain-based disorder, it's not a curable disability, but it's a very manageable disability. So yes,
and that's what you do at Grove's.
That's what we do at Grove's.
Does it affect children differently than adults?
It depends on the amount of remediation a person might have had. So children, we like to get children as young as we can, because it takes less time to help them convert sounds into letters, you know. But for adults, depending on, you know, if they've been remediated and they are aware of accommodations such as a text reader or voice recognition software, they can do extremely well and manage their dyslexia.
You know, there's a lot of actually wonderful things that come out of dyslexia. I know we call it a learning disability, but it has people sometimes thinking differently. I'm wondering, but it can be challenging for students and for children. I'm wondering how, you know, in your experience at Grove's, you encourage these students to think differently about dyslexia.
Yes, definitely. People with dyslexia can do very well in our society, our culture, and in many ways this is one of the best times in history to be dyslexic, because we know so much about the science of reading, so that we can teach them to read independently most of the time. But also there are so many wonderful technological innovations that break down these barriers. But I think the most important thing is for students and people with dyslexia to recognize it and accept it, because it's when that occurs that you can really make the most of your of the accommodations and the supports that are available.
Ellen, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.